So, a lot to talk about here in a pay-per-view that really disappointed me, to be honest with you. Um, I can't say I hate it, because it wasn't like a bad pay-per-view, but it was like a whole lot of nothing. Does that make sense? There's a lot of stuff that could have been different here. In hindsight, is 2020 usually, but this is just kind of my opinion on the whole thing, right? Bayley and Bianca, I don't think needed the Hell in a Cell stipulation. I think it could have just been no DQ and been on the middle of the card. I think Cesaro and Seth in a Hell in a Cell match, if they're going to just stick to the matches that they have on the card, would have been probably more appropriate for the pay-per-view, I think. Now, yeah, you probably want to have a women's match inside Hell in a Cell, but none of the matches for the woman was kind of built for that stipulation, you know? So I feel like they could have just had Seth and Cesaro, since Cesaro's been trying to trying to get his revenge on Seth, and Seth has been like freaking curved Seth in his head. And Cesaro's never been in a Hell in a Cell matchup, so, you know, you got that factor as well. Bianca and Bayley could have just been no disqualification in the middle of the card to kind of warm you up for the next Hell in a Cell match, since they like to open with one and close with one. I think that would have been pretty clever and interesting. There are no tag matches on the card, but none of those matches have been fully built yet, so I guess I understand why they weren't there. You probably could have had Liv Morgan and Carmella on the pre-show, you know, to get the rubber match. Or you could have done New Day and Orton versus New Day versus Orton and Riddle, RK Bro. That could have been something that they did, but they didn't do that. It's fine though. They did Natalya and Mandy Rose, and that match wasn't bad, but it was just kind of like they're trying to build this, and they could have done this on Raw, basically. I don't know. Some of these matches do feel like they could have just been on the shows themselves. They didn't really feel that special. Having Rey and Roman on SmackDown go in a Hell in a Cell match, sure, probably for ratings, maybe. Maybe they didn't want to have 3 Cell matches on Hell in a Cell. I don't think anyone would have really complained, because at least we would have got, you know, to see Roman Reigns versus Rey Mysterio, who hasn't been in a Hell in a Cell matchup. In those 4 championship, I don't know, man. They probably still could have had it on there. They probably didn't have that. I'm just saying. Bianca and Bayley, no disqualification, because Bayley thinks that Bianca is using her hair, and people are okay with that. So she's going to use weapons herself to even the playing field in her mind, only to come up short anyway. That could have been something that they did. They didn't. Seth and Cesaro didn't have a bad match, but it was just kind of like it needed a different stipulation, and Hell in a Cell could have been that stipulation. It would have been the perfect time to do it, to be honest, and it probably would have been an incredible match too. And then get on a roll up, whatever, you know. But they did it twice, so that was kind of like this didn't have to happen on the pay-per-view. You know, if you're not gonna have a decisive finish, this didn't have to happen on the pay-per-view. And maybe decisive finishes aren't necessarily the end-all be-all of, you know, wrestling matches, and they're not. But if you're gonna have a feud like this, they probably shouldn't be ending on roll-ups. They're trying to beat the hell out of each other. There shouldn't be no. Someone's got to get taken out, basically, at least temporarily. But anyways, we also have Alexa Bliss and Shayna. This could have been false anywhere, in my opinion, because I feel like the Fiend gimmick, or Sister, I don't know. I guess it's just Alexa Bliss, not really Sister Abigail. But the Fiend gimmick basically doesn't really need regular one-on-one matches. They have to have stipulations. That's what makes, you know, it just makes it a lot more interesting having them there. Oh, they can use weapons. What are they going to use? Oh, a mallet. Oh, wow. Oh, it's a strap match, so he can't teleport away. That makes sense. Or it has an Inferno match, and it's like summoning fire. Cool. Regular one-on-one matches just like leaves little range of what they can do with the character. You know, it kind of limits the character, and that's the last thing you want to do when you have something as zany as this, right? Shayna should have won, I think, to kind of move her towards, well, either one of them winning, okay, should have just been moving towards Raw Women's Championship afterwards. That's my opinion on that. We'll see why later on, but why that didn't happen later on, but I think that should have been what happened here. But whatever, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, dude. That's just, she kind of dominated, so you figured she'd move forward for the title, but I feel like it's just going to continue. It's weird to watch it all happen. I do think what they could have done with the women's tag team championships, I know they want to have Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke go at it with or go toe to toe with what is it? They don't have a team name, do they? Just Tamina Snuka and Natalya? I don't think they have a team name. Anyways, I guess they could have just had them go at it, at some point. But I feel like tonight it could have been Asuka and Nikki, since they just beat Charlotte and Rhea. Correct me if I'm wrong. So they go after the tag titles because hey, we just beat the Raw Women's Champion and the number one contender, bro. Let's go get some tag team belts. Even if they're not really a tag team, you already make up tag teams anyway and don't use tag teams that you have. So why not just continue with that idea? I don't know. I don't think we had the IC title. Nope, we didn't have the US title either. Who's the US champion? Sheamus? Sheamus got a broken nose though. Okay, well, it just, whatever. Keep moving. What else happened on the card? Sami and Kevin Owens, again, wasn't a bad matchup. I don't even think this one had to be a different stipulation. This could have just been a one-on-one. But I feel like Sami and Kevin have faced each other so many times, kind of like Charlotte and Asuka, to the point where they can just do something different with them. They can do a different match with them. They can. What the match could have been, maybe it could have been, I don't know, maybe it could have just been a cage match. You got Hell in the Cell match. Why not have a cage match on the card too? It's a different type of cell, but how are you going to get the cage there and have the cell there? You know what I mean? I guess I could see why they wouldn't do that, right? But maybe they just do it at a different time, possibly, since they got the ability to do so because there's no live crowd. They probably could take advantage of that, but whatever. That's fine. That's fine. They don't have to do a cage match. Them doing one-on-one is fine. And it was a solid matchup, but it just kind of felt, again, like we kind of seen what they can do with each other. They could have done something else here. They probably would have had Aleister Black versus Big E, but they fired Aleister Black for budget cuts, allegedly, because they wanted to sell the company, allegedly. And whatever. That's their business. I feel like if you were in the middle of a feud with somebody, that's probably not one of the people that you get rid of. But what do I know? I don't know. What do I know? What else is there really? I think, do we just go on the main event from here? No, Rhea and Charlotte. Now, I actually, just like I did just now, when I was watching it, I kind of forgot that was on the card. But when I saw them going at it, it was just kind of like, well, they've both been costing each other matches left and right. What if they would have had, people that they've been running into in the in like a kind of like a lumberjack match or something, since they keep interfering in each other's matches. Now I know it's the idea is to keep people from running away, but now they're in a situation where now people on the outside can play a factor into who becomes the champion or whatever. I don't know. That could have been fun, but nope, they did want a matchup. Okay, are they going to do disqualification? Nope. As a matter of fact, the match is going to end on disqualification from the champion. And I guess it's supposed to be like a double turn, and I think the implementation of that was pitiful, in my opinion. I don't think it was a good double turn at all. Like, it could have been, maybe Charlotte comes in, and they're going at it, and they're actually having a solid matchup, and not Rhea getting disqualified suddenly, but maybe Charlotte gets hurt, and Rhea goes after the injury, but the way she goes about it, it's just like so vicious that it's like, bro, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you, why are you attacking her like this? Like, I get it, what you're trying to do, but this is not at all what anybody, what anybody wanted. Nobody wanted you to like try to end her career or anything. That could have been where Rhea took it. She could have just been like this vicious champion, But instead, hits her with the top of the table and gets disqualified suddenly. Why? I don't understand why that had to happen. I get that it could have been a double turn. Maybe it's not even a double turn. Maybe they were both heels the whole time. Maybe Charlotte is going to be like teaching Rhea stuff and then she's going to betray her. I don't know where this is going, but I think this is just kind of lame again. But okay. Now the main event. Now this was like a new hope for me, this main event. It was kind of like, well, we got one more match on the show. Bobby Lashley and McIntyre. In a Hell in a Cell match, this is it has to be good, right? It should be great. And to be honest, it actually was really dope. It was a dope match. It wasn't like the craziest Hell in a Cell match I've seen, but it definitely had the potential to be, the best match on the card. Mostly because the bar was set so low. So they're going at it. And instead of getting this great ending, we get MVP interferes from the outside. Lashley wins with a roll-up. What? Lashley? With a roll-up? Yeah, you want to protect Drew, but That's how you want to protect Drew? With a roll up. Drew could have lost getting put through the cell, not through the top of the cell. Get speared through the side of the cell, right? Thrown back into the ring. He's got that championship heart. He gets back up. He still wants to fight. Maybe he catches him with the Claymore while Lashley's about to hit him with the spear somehow, but he can't go for the pin because his ribs are hurt. So now they're at a stalemate. They fight back to their feet. Maybe Lashley gets him in the hurt lock again. Drew breaks out, but then gets hit with a spear and loses, or gets hit with a Dominator and loses. Something. A roll up in a Hell in a Cell matchup, but I probably shouldn't really be surprised because the last few Hell in a Cell matches, or last few Hell in a Cell pay-per-views, have not been great. The last year's wasn't even bad. It just had a bad main event. Like, not the main event was bad, but it was kind of like you could have had someone else in the spot. You know what I mean? They could have still had Randy and Drew, but they could have had Bayley and Sasha in the main event because it made sense. This time, it didn't even feel like they had the wrong main event. It just had just poor implementation on all accounts, it seemed like. I don't think any of the matches at all really delivered. They delivered in the way that the company intended, in terms of the story, but they probably didn't deliver in the way that would entertain an audience. If a crowd was there, if this was your first pay-per-view back with a crowd, this would have been dog shit, to be honest. The crowd would have been booing probably most of the show. I mean, Kevin and Sam probably would have had like zero heat. I don't know. Like, it's just, what was this? This just wasn't good at all, man. This sucked. This sucked. Like, I hate to say it, and I rarely have a pay-per-view that all around was garbage. This was, man, holy shit, dude. Like, there's so much they could have done differently, right? And it's always like that. There's always something that you could change, right, in a WWE pay-per-view when you watch it. But sometimes, even though, yeah, they could have done this, but the match was good, so whatever. Yeah, they could have done that, but the match was good, so whatever. Yeah, the finish was dope. Like, Sasha or Bayley getting hit with that Psycho Driver, the KOD, on the ladder, that was dope. That was sick. They could have just done another Q match and not used any of the weapons that were going to be used later, basically, or in the Hell in a Cell matches, basically. So, let's say, normally you see in the Hell in a Cell match a table, the stairs, chairs, kendo sticks, right? Sometimes a ladder. Well, if they didn't, none of them used the ladder this time, so they could use ladder, fire extinguisher. They could have used. They probably still could have used kendo sticks, by the way. Maybe use the announce table if that's not going to be used later. Maybe use the barricade. Put someone through the barricade with a spear or something. That's probably not going to happen later, right? Or in the other Hell in a Cell matches, right? So they could have just done something like that. You got a lot of weapons you at your disposal. Trash can lids. Could have brought some weapons that we haven't even seen before. I don't know. Maybe Bayley uses a microphone. Yeah, use a megaphone as a weapon. It's something. They could have. It just seemed like basically they just said, okay, this is the last one. This is what we want the endings to be, and then nothing else really. That's it. They just kind of had the result, but how you get there was the problem. It just could have been so much more entertaining, and it just wasn't. And hopefully with Money in the Bank and with the crowd and all that, that could be cool, but this is not a good look. Like Raw and SmackDown, I hope they're really good this week, because really the only thing WWE has right now that's been great is NXT. That's just my opinion though. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.